issues while building relationships based on trust and collaboration. Online at shepherd.com. Every day, WNYC is working to get closer to New York and to New Yorkers. The underwriting we get from businesses helps power our independence. Learn how your organization can join in at sponsorship.wnyc.org.
On the next Brian Lehrer Show, baseball and progressive politics. Writer and organizer A.M. Galitz has a new book kind of about the Mets called Metropolitans, New York Baseball, Class Struggle, and the People's Team. Also, the New York City Health Commissioner, Dr. Alistair Martin, how can the city's top doctor contribute to Mayor Mamdani's affordability agenda? The Brian Lehrer Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on WNYC.
It is 6:51, and you're listening to Morning Edition on WNYC New York. Good morning. Marketplace Morning Report is next, and later on Morning Edition, 3 weeks ago, former National Security Advisor John Bolton said one goal of the war in Iran should be to fracture Iran's leadership.
Set one regime official against another. As they see the regime coming apart, a number of them will decide they'd rather not go down with the ship.
We'll see what he says about it now in about 15 minutes. Low 60s with some clouds out there. Slim chance of showers this morning. Partly sunny and 77. And warm air from the southwest, gusting and topping 20 miles an hour.
The price of gas is at a 3-year high.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Fidelity Investments. A dedicated advisor can help build a flexible wealth plan. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. And by Odoo.com, providing business management software with integrated programs for accounting, manufacturing, and operations. Odoo, all your business on one platform.
From Marketplace, I'm Sabri Benishore, in for David Brancaccio. President Trump has reportedly told White House aides he is willing to end the war with Iran without reopening the Strait of Hormuz, through which a fifth of the world's oil supply normally moves. This is according to the Wall Street Journal. The president had previously threatened to use force to open the strait, which would have meant a significant escalation. Stock futures rallied on the news. The price of oil, however, is still elevated, $115 a barrel, and the average price of gas is now above $4 a gallon for the first time since 2022. Marketplace's Nova Safo has more on that.
Some analysts consider the $4 per gallon gasoline price a key psychological barrier above which consumers begin to shift behavior. We breached that milestone overnight. The average national price for a gallon of regular, as tracked by AAA, rose from $3.99 to $4.02. That's nationwide. Prices vary a lot by state. $4.12 in Florida, $5.89 in California. Much of the Northeast is just shy of $4. Diesel prices nationally are up from $3.76 before the war to $5.45. Diesel is the primary fuel for big trucks, freight trains, and farm equipment, meaning large price swings could filter through to other areas of the economy. Rising gasoline prices were already hurting households. 55% of respondents to a Reuters survey a week ago said their finances had taken a hit. I'm Nova Safo for Marketplace.
Tax day is in 2.5 weeks, and the average tax refund will be higher this year because of the 2025 tax cuts. A lot of people could really use that money, and it would normally be a little economic boost for consumers. Enter higher gas prices that Nova was just talking about. And depending on how things go, economically speaking, it could all just end up being a wash. Marketplace's Justin Ho looked into it.
The new tax law is on track to boost refunds this year by roughly $60 billion compared to last year, says Michael Pierce, chief U.S. economist at Oxford Economics.
And the average refund so far has been something like $3,600 per claiming. So that's up about 10 or 11% from year-ago levels.
Problem is, those tax benefits start to look a little slimmer when you factor in rising gas prices.
An increase in gasoline prices driven by this war is essentially a new tax on consumers. So one way of thinking about it is this is offsetting some of the benefits that are coming from this tax cut bill.
Pierce says those benefits will be completely offset if gas prices average around $3.60 a gallon over the course of this year. And right now, gas prices are around $4 nationally.
If they remain there for the rest of the year, then we're going to see that the increase in gas prices more than offset any boost to consumer spending from these tax refunds.
That said, another way of looking at this is that the bigger refunds are helping people afford to spend more on gas.
It provides some cushion to this energy shock. Otherwise, the hit to consumer could be much deeper.
Kathy Bostjancic is chief economist at Nationwide. She says the problem with that argument is that people basically have to spend more money on gas right now.
My gasoline prices went up, so all of the extra money I got from the refunds is going into the gas tank instead of going out to dinner or buying a gift or going on vacation, things like that.
Not every consumer is going to cut back. Jeff Korzenik is chief economist at Fifth Third Commercial Bank. He says that's because consumer debt levels, on average, are historically low right now.
And that means that the consumer can absorb price shocks more readily than if they were stretched out on debt.
But Korzenik says many consumers are struggling with debt, especially since housing costs are so high.
If you're a renter, you felt the pain of rent increases. If you've been a new buyer in the last couple of years, you paid much higher mortgage interest rates.
Korzenik says he expects consumer spending to slow down over the course of this year, which means economic growth will slow too.
Our base case is still continued expansion in the U.S. economy, but more modest growth than we would have otherwise had.
And Korzenik expects that inflation will continue to rise. I'm Justin Ho for Marketplace.
All right, let's do the numbers. Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures are all up in the 4 to 0.6% range, with Dow futures up 270 points. The yield on the 10-year Treasury is at 4.34%.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Palo Alto Networks. Palo Alto Networks delivers comprehensive cybersecurity protection while automating cyber defense to stop threats so organizations can thrive. Learn more at paloaltonetworks.com. And by GEP. With GEP Key Agentic AI and GEP Smart Software, GEP is at the forefront in agentic procurement orchestration and autonomous supply chains.
Let's say you want to trade in your old car for a new one, but you have not paid the old one off yet, and actually the old one is worth less than what you still owe on it. That is called being underwater or upside down. And roughly a third of people trading in their old cars are underwater on their car loans. That is according to J.D. Power. Marketplace's Kaylee Wells explains.
We've got 3 reasons this is happening. 1, new cars have gotten way more expensive, says Sam Fiorani with Auto Forecast Solutions.
We're seeing fewer and fewer manufacturers offering vehicles under $35,000, under $30,000. Competition has been pushing price up, and nobody is filling the gap at the bottom.
And unlike a house whose value typically increases over time, with a car,
as soon as you drive it off the lot, you owe more than it is worth.
The second issue, car loans are getting longer.
We went from everyone having 36-month loans at the beginning of the century to now, the average consumer is essentially in a 72-month loan.
Tyson Jominy at J.D. Power says longer loans mean it takes longer for cars to be worth more than what you owe on them, which over a decade of ownership wouldn't be an issue, but
no matter what kind of loan consumers have or how long it gets, consumers still return to market pretty consistently around 4 years.
Jominy says this trend won't hurt car dealers much, since they often provide incentives that clear the old car's balance so buyers can afford a new one. I'm Kaylee Wells for Marketplace.
And in New York, I'm Sabri Benishore with the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.
WNYC is